Nice and easy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the July meeting of the Greencastle School Board on this hot evening.
Very hot.
It's hot. Thank you all for braving the heat and coming in this evening. All right. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
There are no adjustments to the agenda this month.
Very good. Moving on to public comments. Looks like I do have one nice lady who'd like to speak to the board. Ms. Sutherland? You are first. If you'd like to come up and stand at the mic, introduce yourself, and tell us what you got. Welcome. You can address the audience, address us, whoever you'd like.
Okay. I guess
Very good.
Okay, I am Opal Sutherland, and I'm a graduate of the Greencastle High School class of 1959. I don't see anybody here old enough. In the class of 1959, we had about 120 graduates, and what we have done, we have given a $25 donation for each class member in remembrance and in honor of the Putnam County Foundation for the Greencastle High School Alumni Scholarship Fund. And at this time, I think we're the only class that's done the whole entire class. So, I don't know if any of you here tonight remembers the basketball coach, Tom Goldsberry. He, probably not, like I said, I don't see anybody that old. He was here in the 1940s and 50s and maybe a little on the 60s. And he started a tradition here. That's why I'm here tonight. I would like to bring back. Mr. Goldsberry was the boys varsity basketball coach. And he's, just before every game started, he would turn off the lights in the gymnasium. He would hit a spotlight and it would flash around, and then it would end up on a paper tiger. And each of the boys would get to jump through this tiger. And like everything else, this has been updated, and it's a new tradition that it's called a breakaway tiger now. I'm not familiar with it, but I've been told about it. And it will break away, and I think it's made of vinyl, so you don't have to replace it with those paper tigers, so that cuts down on expenses. I spoke with the cheer coach, Renee Hutchison, about this, and she said she would love to have this brought back, because she remembers seeing some of that. And she said, oh, well, the cheer squad doesn't get any funding. And she said, I can't afford this. And so I asked her how much it was, and she said between $750 and $800. So that's why I'm here. The class of 1959 still has money and has always had money since we graduated. And we would like to purchase this and give it to the Greencastle basketball coach and his squad, if you will allow that.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that idea.
Absolutely.
That's very nice. Anything to bring school spirit and cheer to the students and the faculty and staff, that's good things. So.
And that's what we need, some spirit in that gymnasium.
We always need spirit. Always
and
need spirit.
Students, because I mean, as grandparents are there, but we're getting older, and parents are always there. Because
Sure.
That's about it. So.
Yeah, it's not the older days like it used to be, where the students were full in there. And it's a different day.
And brought the walls down in that old gym.
Still the best gym?
Yeah, best gym in the state as far as I'm concerned.
Yes,
absolutely.
It was.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I do thank you for that. That's very fantastic, and all your efforts to try and help us get some cheer and spirit in the gym. We like it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
So I assume that is going to be an over $500 donation. So if we could add that donation to the end of the agenda to accept it, because the board has to accept anything over $500.
We do have an adjustment to the agenda. Let me get that on.
So we'll add
Where
it.
are we at?
Okay,
There we go.
bottom of K,
And so you after Toyota.
Yep.
class of 1959.
I don't remember it.
No, you don't.
And Miss Sutherland, what was that cost on that you were talking about the donation was? The amount, or you just wanting to donate the actual product itself?
The amount that she told me it was $750.
So we'll kind of make
So
that.
I don't have a final cost on that.
Okay.
She was there last week and she didn't like any of the pilots so far.
Okay. Okay. All right.
It's kind of
Special
make-
based on I really use my
there are just so many different tigers that have been here throughout the years, and so I think we're trying to stick within kind of like a brand, but I'm sure that Mr. Greenley can work with her. Our team will have to help her. So we'll just kind of make in general kind of that stipulation, kind of within that amount. If we have to reapprove something later on, we can.
It was a little over
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And you probably want to go ahead and take a vote on adding that, since that's our standard procedure.
So moving back to adjustments to the agenda, it looks like we have an addition to item K for a donation. So can I get a motion to add that?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Do you have any discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. We'll add that to K. Thank you very much. All right. And I don't see anyone else that wishes to speak to the board. Is that correct? Going once, twice. There we go. Moving on. All right, moving on to organization of the board. Tonight is the night that we vote on officers for the board. So,
Yep.
If you didn't show up, you're probably going to be becoming officer.
Yeah, so unlike most boards who reorganize in January, we reorganize with the fiscal year, and so this is one of the tasks that we have to do. And so the election officers, if
Okay.
somebody wants to kind of make a motion on what you guys would like to do based on what you've discussed.
Okay. Can I get a motion for president?
Nominate Ed.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for your confidence on that. I appreciate that. All right. I have the position of vice president. I have a motion.
I nominate Jimmy.
I will second that motion. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion will carry. All right. Now we have secretary. Do I have a motion for secretary?
Nominate Megan.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Okay. We will close the election of officers. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to school board appointment as legislative liaison to the ISBA.
Yep, so just as is kind of customary over the years, we always designate one person, legislative liaison, to share information, kind of back and forth one way or another. I don't remember I can't recall who is currently serving as legislative liaison.
That's me.
I think it's Jimmy, I think. So, Jimmy, do you wish to carry that on? Do you wish somebody
Absolutely.
else to do that? Okay.
Unless you want it.
No, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So I'll make a motion for Jimmy to be the liaison to the ISBA.
I'll second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion will carry. All right. We're going to appoint a corporation treasurer, Kelly Romer. I think I've heard that name a time or two, as finance director. As always. And this is a normal thing we do every year during this time. So, Mrs. Romer, thank you as always for your good work with us.
Absolutely.
All right. Can I get a motion to appoint Mrs. Romer?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Romer.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Going to appoint Deputy Treasurer Shelley Gardner. Heard that name a couple times too. All right.
So moved.
Second.
I'll move in a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion will carry. Appoint the high school ECA treasurer, Tina Williamson.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Appoint corporation attorney Michelle Cooper of Lewis and Capus?
Yeah.
Oh, I never remember how to say that. Capus. PC.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. Now we're going to establish the date, time, place of regular meetings. We'll not be changing that, I assume.
Yeah, so it's customarily it's the fourth Monday of each month. But in this next fiscal year, there are 3 dates where it'll be the third Monday of the month.
Okay.
In December due to winter break, in March due to spring break, and in May due to Memorial Day. And the recommendation is to keep the time at 6 p.m. and have a meeting in this office.
Okay. Hearing all that information, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion will carry. Okay, moving on to the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of the meeting minutes of the regular board meeting of June 23rd, 2025, allowance of claims, financial report, personnel reports, part 1 and 2, which are posted on the door. Ms. Romer.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hello.
In your finance pack, you're going to see 2 regular payrolls and a mini payroll for the month of June. The first one was dated June 6, 2025, total payroll $440,116.99. The second one was a mini payroll. We had some school bus drivers that had done some extra trips and they were missed on the payroll. So we had to do a mini payroll to get those folks paid. That was dated June 7th, 2025. Total payroll of $6,041.42. Along with that regular payroll, there was, as usual, the federal taxes and retirement. On that one is $128,266.17. And we did have a little bit on that mini payroll for the bus drivers. It was $1,775.01. And then the second regular payroll was dated the 20th of June, 2025. Total payroll, $408,169.45. And along with that came the taxes and retirement, $122,475.07. And next in your pack, there is a list of prepays for the month of June. If you had a chance to take a look at that, did anyone have any questions about anything that I prepaid on for June?
I did not.
No? Okay. We will go ahead and go to the last page then. Total for prepays, June 2025, $2,230,134.86. And I'd just like to point out that that included the debt service payments. That's why that's so high for June. And then we've got some claims that are dated today, July 28th, 2025. Again, as you look through that list, did anyone have any questions about anything specifically?
I did not.
No. Okay. Total for the claims dated today, $463,700.72. And then we'll move on to the fund report if you're ready for that. We'll look at the first line, which is education fund balance at the end of June 2025, $3,920,938.25. We're going to buzz down about 3 more rows to Fund 300, operations balance $1,918,833.56. If we go ahead and go to the very last page, we're going to see the balance in all funds the end of June 2025 as $11,959,557.25. If we look at our bank to fund statement, you're going to see that $11,959,557.25 again. And then you're also going to see the balance of our banks, and you'll see that those both match to the penny. That's exactly where we want to be. We want our banks and we want our funds to all match at the end of the month. So we're on the right track. And then we've got a fund transfer report. Once again, that's just showing the school lunch transfer from 8,400 to 800. And that total there was $31,000 to $11,15. We had the regular education ops transfer, and then you also authorized me for each budget year to do any transfers in between banks. And you'll see that I did that on a couple of occasions for the month of June. The total on those transfers was $968,748.65. And then we'll quickly go through some bond expenditures here. Once again, on Bond 21 and Bond 2022, we have no new expenditures on that, and our balance is remaining the same. But I do want to continue to point out that we do have a balance in 2022, and we are holding that for retainage. As things progress with that, then we will eventually do something with that money in there. And then finally, I wanted to point out on the fund detail report for the GO bond 2024, the expenditures. I show you all the new expenditures and then the past expenditures that we paid out of GO bond. The fund detail report, we have an update within the software, so it has allowed me to run a different format. So you'll see that the revenue is in that left-hand column, and then if you look under the expended column, it's actually arranged by date. So if you go to the very last page, you'll see the very last expenditure that we had was June 23rd, 2025. And then all of the expenditures above that are subsequent. Okay, and then finally, we can go ahead and look at the balance on the third column there. It shows us a running balance of where we're at in that fund. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now remember, we would still have some expenditures that are happening here within July that you haven't seen yet, but at the end of June, you can kind of see where we're at the end of June and where our balance is in that bond. Pending any questions, I'd like to submit for approval.
I like that, how it comes in and does
Yeah,
the,
I think it
running
makes it a lot
balance and all
easier to
that. That's a lot
understand,
easier to
doesn't
get. Yeah, very cool.
Yes,
Very nice. Thank you for doing that.
you're welcome.
Okay. All right, any questions? No. Okay. And I get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Somebody was drinking. Okay. I have a motion and a second. Do you have any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you, Ms. Lynn.
I would like
You're
to note, in the personnel report, we did have two retirements from longtime teachers. I'd like to thank Mrs. Courtney Dickey for her years of service to our school system, as well as Mrs. Julie Carr. Definitely wish them both well in retirement, and hope that they are able to create many additional memories in retirement, and hope to see them back and around.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank both of them for their service to our corporation. They were
Absolutely.
both valuable members. Very nice ladies. Okay. All right, moving on to reports. The Assistant Superintendent, Mrs. McPherson.
Yes, I'm going to invite Mrs. Sullivan up as well. So in 2022-2023, Mr. Gibney led our admin team through the process of creating our strategic plan and setting specific goals for our district. Admin are responsible for seeing those goals come through and complete and which ones are in progress, and Mrs. Sullivan and I are in charge of providing appropriate wellness supports for our students. So the first slide, this is our original goal 2, and I've indicated on there the progress or completion of those different pieces. Our first one is Cummins mental health support in each building. And particularly being able to provide that support to our students who have private insurance and also Medicaid. And in 2023, I secured a grant through the Putnam County Community Foundation to provide vouchers for those students in need. They got 3 emergency sessions with our Cummins Health support, and then if they needed additional sessions, we were able to work with them. And then also for the subsequent years, Mrs. Sullivan is gracious enough to use some of her Medicaid money to help support those students too. So I have that as completed because that's an ongoing thing that we are continuing to do that we've established. Our second bullet point is our PBIS strategies. Our counselors worked to align our district character traits K-12. And last year we introduced that alignment, and then each of our student of the months were based on that specific character trait. So like in 1 month responsibility, all of the students of the month were recognized for that specific trait. We were very thankful. I think Megan Ward led that charge out of the counselors, but getting all of that together and aligning it with our character curriculum and having that K-12. And one that's in progress is just continuing to align our PBIS and management strategies K-12. We find that has been a little bit more difficult because what they can do K-2 is a little bit different than what they want to do in 9-12. This past, I don't know if it was May or whenever, but Ms. Knoll and Mr. Roberts talked about adjusting and working this year, moving away from maybe the STAR and going to Tiger, is that correct? And then I know Mrs. Eldridge, and she has a team of teachers in her building who are working on doing a new system this school year and implementing that. So I put in progress in there because those are steps that we're taking toward that. And then I will turn that over to Mrs. Sullivan.
Yes, so in the 23-24 school year, we continued with our crisis intervention training. I believe we've been doing that at Greencastle I've been here 17 years, so I think in 15. Maybe even 16, but we continue, that's ongoing. We have roughly 60, 65 folks in the district that are trained. That is for de-escalation. A lot of people will call it POLS training, but it is more about just helping kids work through their struggles, crisis, trauma, whatever that looks like. We also do that ongoing. So it's usually every semester. Sometimes it's even more than that, depending on when we hire new staff that it's necessary. We've also trained 3 staff members at Deer Meadow in the instructional strategies working with, multi-language students. Those teachers are Melissa Ames, Holly Hill, and Angie Wood. We have also trained 10 staff members, and that's mainly, again, counselors new to the district or teachers new to the district, and 10 trainings to improve our PBIS system, and that continues to be in progress. And then Mrs. McPherson and or I have an audit of this, so we keep track of all of these trainings. So if ever the state asks, or if any of you wanted to see that, we have that for your viewing.
So since we have completed several of our pieces of this goal, she and I worked together on what is our next step. So on this slide, we're going to outline some of those things that we're working on in the next couple of years to continue that support of our students and our teachers. So the first one that we have is Building Resilient Schools training for our teachers at TZ and GMS. We're starting that this school year, focusing on making connections between our school and the families, helping our students build self-esteem and creating a positive change in our students, and then also working through conflict resolution and problem-solving strategies for our students. We decided on TZ and GMS, one, because we had some teacher input on these are some things that they're wanting training in. And so we want to make sure we're providing that support for what they need and what they want. But also we looked at some of our student data, discipline data, things like that, and saw that that was a high need for that 3rd through 8th grade group. There's a lot of things happening with students during that time period of their lives. So we want to make sure we support them in all that we can. This will be focused on our late start Mondays, and then some of our PLC time will be using that. So it'll be during that teacher time. So they won't have to really do anything outside of the contract time.
And in addition to that, we are super excited about partnering with Kevin Dill and his company Show and Tell Education. He will be here on August 1st to do our keynote for all staff, including instructional assistants, bus drivers, whoever wants to come to that. And then he will be with us all day long, and he will do that keynote in the morning, and then we'll break out, and we're going to kind of piggyback on what Mrs. McPherson said. Based on some of our discipline data, we're going to target grades 3 through 8 with Mr. Dill. He's going to work on some informative coaching and all kinds of things. The administrators this summer read the book that he wrote. I will tell you it's called Up Yours, but it's fantastic. And so we're going to use those strategies as well. He will come back 5 other times throughout the school year, working on coaching our kids, or our teachers and our administrators, working with research-based strategies to help with those maladaptive behaviors.
And then Synergy, this was something that happened last school year, but we saw that we still have even with our partnership with Cummins, a large need for mental health support for our students. So Synergy came in and they are a new mental health provider for us. And I know that they have someone at TZ, I think middle school, possibly, maybe high school, but just again, trying to meet the needs of our students.
And then last school year, Mrs. McPherson and I wrote a grant for paraprofessional development training, and we were awarded that. So we spent the entire school year trying to get those folks some much needed and much deserved some training to help with what they're doing day in and day out. We did some training. I did a full day training in January with them in person. I had some people coming in from BlazerWorks as well as IEPTA. We also offered virtual training so they could do it on their own, but they were reimbursed for that as long as they got their certificate. So we didn't have to pull them out of class. So it was generally those days that we did in person. Kids were not in session. They worked on working with children with maladaptive behaviors, which is a big focus, and also leading effective small groups in both reading and math. Some of our IAs even are trained in OG, which helps our kiddos with those foundational reading skills. And in part of that January, I think it was the 6th or the 3rd, I'm not sure, that Friday, we did a self-care workshop. So we showed those paraprofessionals that we know it's important for them to also take care of themselves and keep themselves healthy, both mentally and physically, so that they can continue to work for us and be effective with our kids. We have, I'm excited, we've added an additional CPI trainer, Mr. Covert. So I was the only trainer for the last 5 years. So now we have 2 trainers. So we'll have somebody specifically at Tizonicus, but he can also help train throughout the school year and in the summer. We will also, when we break out in the afternoons, or I guess at 10:15 on August 1st, those teachers at TZ and middle school will be with Mr. Dill, but our Deer Meadow and Ripath will be with BlazerWorks, which is an organization that I'm affiliated with that offers free professional development, and they will be working on for kids preschool through grade 2 on executive functioning and dysregulation to help with those let's say annoying behaviors sometimes with those little guys. And then IEPTA will be here to provide some professional development for our high school teachers on behavior management and shaping for students in grades 9 through 12.
So as we continue on this school year and into next, we'll continue to update you and if we complete things, moving on to some additional goals. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies, both for your dedication with the mental health with the students and the faculty. It's not an easy thing to talk about, but it's something that's very important and it's coming up a lot in the world. So thank you for your dedication with that. Awesome. Awesome stuff.
And that is all I have.
Cool. All right. Mr. Gibney.
Yeah, I just have a few kind of brief updates this month. Obviously, the exciting thing to hear is opening school, or opening day with staff, Friday, August 1st in Parker Auditorium. And I believe I also sent an invite to the board. We're going to begin with our all-district breakfast and get everyone together and meet some of our new staff members, obviously before some of those exciting opportunities with Mr. Dill and some other team members. Our students return with their smiling faces on Tuesday, August 5th. Ready or not, they are going to show up on August 5th. So we're really looking forward to that. I know that obviously, you look out, or I look out my office window sometimes, or when I'm driving around campus, it many times feels like the kids never left because there's always some kind of summer activity or summer practice going on. But it'll be nice to see the hallways and classrooms filled once again. So with that, obviously, we're working on putting the finishing touches on our buildings and grounds, and just everyone is really working incredibly hard to get ready for school. Maintenance, grounds, our custodial staff, food service obviously wrapped up a great summer feeding program. Transportation, getting all of our buses ready, passing state inspection for the start of school. And then, even lastly, just our secretaries and admin for getting new students enrolled, working with new families, getting them into the right classes, and then just our teachers who continue to fine tune their craft over the summer and participating in PD and are willing to come in if we need them to call or if we have to call them to work through a project. So just really thankful everyone have and looking forward to ramping up for a good school year. And so finishing off many different projects throughout the district, and we welcome kids and teachers back, whether it's new flooring, painting at the middle school, to painting and at TZ, just freshen up spaces. It's just an exciting time. Just kind of continue to chip away at that. We are close to finishing up our transportation center project. So you might recall, or I know the question was, is like Greencastle Schools built this really nice bus barn or transportation facility to store their buses, and they're all parked at the middle school. Why is that? Well, it's because we had to do some repairs to the asphalt and to the concrete apron, and so we couldn't drive buses over that new concrete and that asphalt. So we staged them over there while their transportation was getting ready for state inspection. They've since all been moved back to transportation center, and we're working on completing the punch list for that project. So that was much needed and much better to where we don't have the asphalt failing and just much more put back together. And then the last item that I have this month is we are working on completing or finishing up our surplus auction that we've advertised. That runs through the July 30th. Can't remember if it's 10 or 11 a.m. It's kind of a soft close. And if you go to highbid.com and type in our zip code, you can find it. So we're selling some of those surplus items that we can use to kind of reinvest into back into some of our programs or the shop or the equipment and things like that. So just a few updates.
Okay. And we went over as a board and looked at some of the updates and whatnot in the schools,
Yeah.
and as well as just driving through town on my normal day. The grounds are looking fantastic. The inside of the schools are looking fantastic. So kudos to you and your team for all the hard work over the summer and trying to get it ready. So I'm excited to see what everybody thinks when they go inside there. Very cool. All right, moving on to old business. I see none on here. New business. Looks like we have an approval request for the 2026 proposed budget calendar.
Yeah, so we've been working hard to prepare the 2026 budget. Everything's mostly complete. In your packet was the proposed schedule to allow us to adopt our 2026 budget, CPF plan, bus replacement plan, and all budget-related resolutions according to the county council and our board meeting schedule, and also timelines set by the state. That calendar will allow us to meet essentially those deadlines. And so it would be my recommendation, the board approve that budget calendar.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. All right, I have an approval request for the required ADM counts for the purpose of state funding and verification of residency for membership.
Yeah, this is kind of a redundant thing that we have to do each year. The policy itself hasn't changed, but each year we must reapprove due to the specific documents we require families to provide for verification of residency. There are no changes being proposed.
Okay. All right, can I get an approval? A motion to approve, I'm sorry.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? My motion will carry. All right, I have an approval request for a 1-year agreement with Waste Management Trash Service.
Yeah, so Kelly's been working with us to assist with identifying options for cost savings, and she's negotiated an agreement with Waste Management that's going to allow us to upgrade some of our containers at no additional charge. For instance, going to like an 8-yard 8-yard dumpster or 8-yard container with the monthly cost being less at just over $1,600 per month. We will reevaluate at the end of the school year. Overall, Waste Management's bid was roughly $3,000 less a year than the other quotes. The estimated total cost is approximately $19,200 for refuse for the school year. For the year.
What do we pay now?
It varies. It just depends if we've got any roll off, we have to bring in any extra containers, things like that. It can be anywhere from 19 anywhere to, it's been over $3,000. We have not had an agreement with any refuse company, but like an actual agreement. It does not exist.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so we decided
It's
to
like
go
continue.
ahead and go out and see, see what kind of, how competitive they're willing to be, and they were very willing to be competitive. And I just kept asking, and they just kept giving. So sometimes all you got to do is ask. So then we'll see where we're at after this year, and see if everybody just wants to be as competitive as they were this time. And then if they are, then I'll just keep asking, and then whoever
Okay.
has the best one, that's who we'll go with. So,
Mhm.
so this will help us we'll be able to establish, affirm, what our refuse costs are gonna be every month, because before it could kind of be all over the place, you just didn't know.
Okay.
And that is unpredictable, and we are not in a situation where we need unpredictable expenses.
No.
We need predictable expenses.
Exactly. Thank you for
Yeah.
taking the lead on that.
Very good. All right. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. All right. I have an approval request for MOU Trex program with the Association of Indiana Counties.
Yeah, so this is a program government agencies use. So over the years, we've had some difficulties, collecting unpaid school balances. Could, in the past, there have been things like textbook rental, student fees, device damages, those kinds of things, and we'd have to take families to small claims court. And there's a cost to doing that, and there's a level of success that you have with that. And so the Trex program is a free way to collect small debts through the state via the debtor's state personal income tax returns. Many state agencies currently use it effectively. Universities utilize this program. A lot of school districts have converted over to using the program. Kelly spent some time meeting with them, and we think that this is something that will help us collect those balances more efficiently.
Mr. Gibney, if I could just,
Yep.
I want to correct something on
Sure.
this. There is a cost with this. It's $20,
Correct.
okay? So it's not a free service, but it's $20. And my intention is not to, if we do have a family and there's several students that would have an outstanding balance, is to combine the family's balance, and then they would only have to pay the flat $20 if we are able to collect through the Trex program. So it's not necessarily a free program, but it is a lot cheaper for the families if we do kind of get to the situation where we do have to send them off. Whereas with collections, actual collections, it can affect their credit, all kinds of things. And, we really don't want to do that. But I wanted to just, let you know it is not free. It's $20, but we're going to try to keep it to that for the entire family and not per student or account, if that makes sense. Okay.
Is there a maximum amount on that too? I see minimum is $25 that they'll go for a balance of debt. Is there a maximum?
No, and what I found out today was I'm actually learning more as this continues to roll on. And the only way I can get further into it is, introducing this MOU to you so we can continue to work through the process. No, what I found out today is we can actually, what would be considered bad debt at this point, specifically with school lunch, we could actually reintroduce this and add it to that roster. And then if, families do have any type of refund coming, we can go ahead and tap into that to pay maybe some balances that are a couple of years old. So, but I did not know that until I asked that question today. So does that answer your question, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. I have approval request for the 2025-26 meal prices and a la carte menu prices.
Yep, so we received updated meal price recommendations for this school year from Mandy Haddon, our Chartwell's Director of Dining Services. These calculations for estimating these meal prices are made via the Indiana Department of Education PLE tool. And schools must meet certain guidelines each year. And I would like it to note that while we are showing an increase in both breakfast and lunch prices for 25-26, it's important to note that all elementary students receive free breakfast since last school year. And we'll continue that program into 25-26. And it's our goal to also study the financial viability of making middle school and high school free for breakfast. So that has been awesome for our kids. And we've seen a lot more students eating breakfast, getting protein. We know that protein is good for the brain and for learning. But those other costs help us keep us in the black so that we are running a viable food service program. As obviously we all know, when we go to the grocery store, these items that we're purchasing unfortunately are not getting any cheaper. And so it'd be my recommendation that the board approve the updated meal prices for this next school year, as well as the updated a la carte price.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Now,
Second.
okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I was reading as well. I'm sorry. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. I got behind on reading there. Sorry. All right. I have approval request for a uniform conflict of interest disclosure for one Ed Wilson.
Yeah, so as is customary at our reorganization meeting, we also go through and regroup any potential conflicts of interest. And Ed has disclosed that sometimes he works as private security for events. He's disclosed that, and be my recommendation that the board approve this, and then we will file this away. I believe this is with the clerk's office.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I will abstain. Motion will carry. Thank you. All right, I have an approval request for 2025-26 Putnam County Hospital nurse lease agreement.
Yeah, so I can't remember when exactly we began the partnership, but we've generated a good partnership with our local hospital. And I believe last year was the first full year where we had the least employee agreement. And essentially, we have an updated agreement to lease nurses for the 25-26 school year. And so once again, we will be fully staffed and working with them on keeping the cost down, at the same time keeping all of our clinics fully staffed with full-time hours, which is very helpful for principals, secretaries, teachers, IAs, obviously parents. They've been a good resource for us and do a great job. And we look to continue to build out our telehealth program that is optional for families to participate in. Obviously, they're rolling out school care, just good communication, collaboration between the school nurse and home. So it would be my recommendation that the board approve the 25-26 agreement.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. Have approval request for modifications to the 25-26 GHS Building Handbook.
Yep, so, I will do my best to explain this, and if you need to, Mrs. Goodpaster can jump in, but essentially, we're just seeking to make a minor modification. It's a result of an IHSA rule change. Basically, kind of in short, some off-campus courses now count differently, and we wish to make that adjustment to be current and not penalize students, for instance, who might be going off campus to take like an alpha course or multiple alpha courses. And in order to allow those students to participate in extracurricular activities, we would need to make this adjustment.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. All right, I have approval request for special services.
Yep. So again, just annual kind of time of year. You've been kind of approving some here and there over the past few months. As we have just some specialty services where it doesn't necessarily warrant a full-time person, or if it does, these are specialty individuals. They're difficult to find positions, and so Mrs. Sullivan has contracts with 3 different individuals or agencies to make sure that we're able to provide these services for our students with disabilities. And it would be my recommendation that the board approve these contracts as presented.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So St. Joseph is just a rotating person, and the other 2 are identified as individuals. Is that correct or no?
Our OT is moving on campus.
Virtual.
Our
Gotcha. Cool.
GTA,
Okay.
Very good. Okay. I have a motion and a second with some discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion will carry. All right, I have an approval request for the 25-26 employee handbooks.
Yep. So again, as is customary, we bring these to the board each year. We're about a month later this year, just because it's good practice to run these through legal periodically. So we've run these through Michelle Cooper. There were no major updates to the handbook. We meet as a group each spring, talk through it. Directors have an opportunity to kind of share recommendations for updates. They're really relatively minor. We did try to maybe more clearly outline some of the wages paid to transportation staff for some of our routes, try to kind of clean that up, adjusted some of our ECA pay for driving those buses, but outside of that, really relatively minor changes. Like for instance, the after school program this year will be at the YMCA, so we added a YMCA trip because we're going to transport the kids to the Y.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. All right, I have a approval request for, looks like several athletic corporation sponsors. The first being Greencastle Pediatric Dentistry for $1,500. Can I get a motion to accept that donation?
Or we usually do them all.
You want me to do them all? I'd love to do them all at one time. That'd be fantastic. All right, moving down the list, we have Greencastle Pediatric Dentistry for $1,500. I have York Automotive for $1,500. Epic Insurance Midwest for $1,500. Seniors Towing for $1,500. Buffalo Wild Wings for $750. Chiota for $500. And the class of 1959 to Greencastle High School Athletics to be determined between $750 and $800 for a Tiger breakaway for Mackinac. Is that it?
Yep.
That was I got. All right. Can I get approval to accept all of those donations?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? My motion will carry. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we do have one more. Let's see. Approval request for a donation. Looks like the Putnam County Community Foundation grant to GCSC Deer Meadow Red Path Preschool for $25,528.44.
Yes, this is the grant I shared with you in June that we wrote to the Community Foundation to finish up that preschool expansion project that will include outdoor learning spaces and some new indoor learning spaces as well.
Awesome. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you, Ms. McPherson. All right. Looks like I have the first reading of the Neola Volume 37, Number 2. And I am not going to read through every one of those. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. Jimmy might want to do it. Mr. Beasley.
Good.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. This is first reading only, and obviously this is a result of a completed legislative session. Some of these are being rescinded, some are being updated for technical corrections, some are being combined, but essentially there is a lot of cleanup with that. And, to your delight, there's actually been a July or June release of some additional policies that we'll have for first reading next month while we bring these back for a second reading.
Okay.
So no action being taken this month.
That was some fun reading to sit and go through all those. There's a lot of red lines and
55.
yeah, creatings of different verbiages. Very cool. Okay. That is done. All right. Do I have any other business?
I would like to ask where the JAG program is. I know there was a fluctuation and with the state funding, and so could I possibly have an update where we are on that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we are not able to fund JAG. So when the funding went away from the state government, had many different conversations with, I can't remember his name, but Greg Lee from Department of Workforce Development, on to contacted Send to Dr. Jenner herself, where unfortunately they didn't have any funding in their budget for the program. Essentially, the program dissolved itself, but the principals and myself, just kind of as we've said before, there were pieces of JAG that we know are just good in general, and even without a JAG program, we need to find ways to implement. We're talking about things from mentorship. We're talking about things to taking kids on college visits, to going out and visiting local, regional industry. Good practices are good practices. The high school redesign naturally allows us to do some of those things, and we're going to find ways to do that in our student-run business, our student-run enterprise. But yeah, we're in a difficult situation, like many of our peers. We just can't support that full-time position on top of other things. But yeah, it was very disappointing and discouraged. We reached out, we signed letters. Again, I talked to Katie Jenner. We just didn't weren't able to get support at the 11th hour from the state.
It's a shame.
It
is a
is
shame.
just appalling to me.
Yeah.
that They would just cut a program that was so valuable.
Yeah, even the extracurricular piece of it, the competition. So we'll do our best to find ways to maybe get kids involved in DECA, academic Super Bowl. Certainly, and starting dividing Ag and FFA into separate programs in each piece. Maybe there's a way to get some kids involved in those programs. So it's not like a JAG competition per se, but there are components of FFA that capture some of those same things. So, yeah, we're going to work to do our best for that. But it was very discouraged to hear that news because we were excited when we were able to bring both programs to both middle school and high school. And I think that we had really good people involved in those programs too. So definitely very discouraged.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah.
Not what I wanted to hear,
Yeah.
but thank you for the update.
And thank you to you and your folks for continuing to try and find ways to, under the radar, under their dome, trying to figure out to do it within our own walls here. So it's a shame we have a good program that works and it just goes to the wayside. Okay. Anything further? Okay. Hearing nothing further, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Do I have any discussion on the matter? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming this evening.
Practice?
No,
Have a
we're
safe
not in
evening.
practice.
I didn't know.